Holy shit. Running a tad late here. Get the microphone set. Boy, when I did the playback, holy shit, was this thing loud. I had to crank it way back. Instead of doing a sound check, I do a show, a sound check during the show. Then when I do the playback, whoa! How you doing tonight, Kathy? Okay. No problem. Works for me. Although running next door is like 3 miles down the road. Not like in the city where you run next door and it's like 3 steps. Out in God's country, it's 3 miles. Boy, talk about cutting it close. I decided to the last minute to make another cup of coffee. I step in the door and the timer says 6:59 and 32 seconds. I was like, holy shit. Come on, tablet. Goddamn tablet taking longer and longer to boot up. Oh shit, what did I do that for? Ah! There. Okay. Whoa, what happened here? My sound just... Uh-oh. Do I have... Okay. I didn't have stereo there for a minute. Hey, Runbo's here! Kathy had to dash next door, and she'll be back shortly. Although dashing next door in God's country is like 3 miles down the road. Not like in Cleveland where, I'm looking at my neighbor's side door right now. I could almost reach out and touch it. He brought his play toy home today, and oh my God, I was begging him. He's got a it's either 72 or 73 Opel GT, which looks like a little tiny Corvette. I had one. Matter of fact, the same color orange that his is. He took it down off the flatbed, and I said, can I take it around the block? No! And then he backed it in the garage. Cleaning the kitchen so you can make dinner. Yeah, I've been there, done that. I'll tell you what, Ron. Usually I hate anything dirty in the sink. I don't like shit up on the stove. When I get done, I clean up right away. That way, the only thing that I basically have is like, a plate, some silverware, I'll tell you what. I've got friends that shit stacked in the sink. You can't see the sink. I can't live like that. Oh my God. I make my stove is clean. I always clean, wipe down my microwave after every use. I'm a tad OCD, but I cannot stand to see anything in the sink. Usually I will clean every pot and pan. The only pan that I have not cleaned is my skillet, because it's got just a tad of grease from my Italian sausage. I have to cook some more Italian sausage tomorrow. So basically, when I preheat the pan, it already has a coating. And then I take the Italian sausage, I put it in the pan, and I swirl it around a little bit. But when I'm done cooking the Italian sausage and then the peppers and onions, that pan will immediately get cleaned. And the thing I like about it is a true non-stick. And talk about easy cleanup. Run it under hot water. Technically, you're not supposed to use any dishwashing liquid. Once the pan has been seasoned, you run it under hot water, you take paper towels, you wipe the pan out. I'll tell you what, that's another item I fell for. As seen on TV, non-stick. I was like, the last one I ordered, I got burned on. Literally. So I says, I'll try this one and see what happens. The last one I ordered, and it's several years back, it was called an organic. It was a non-stick pan, and the inside of the pan was dark green, which I thought was cool. I followed the instructions, because people think you can take these pans, plop them on the stove, and immediately cook with them. No! You have to season them. And basically, the way you season it is you put it on the stove, and you bring it up to a medium temperature. Then you take it off the stove and you put in olive oil, cooking oil, and you wipe it around. And then while the stove is still on, you put it back on the burner for a minute. And then you wipe it out again. And it's seasoned. I'll tell you what, I have cooked, God, I've even made grilled cheese in that pan, and the cheese don't stick. Nothing sticks. But you have to season it. So, I got that one, and then I got two Oh, I think they're called Silverstone. Three wonderful pans. Absolutely. Matter of fact, the one small one is just perfect for an egg. Crack an egg in there, just like on TV. Swirl it around, flip it over. But I season them. People they buy a pan, throw that away. Put the pan on the stove, start to cook with it, shit sticks, and they're like, what a shitty pan. Well, the instructions you threw away told you how to season it. I have three pans I use all the time. I've got a 6-inch, an 8-inch, and a 10-inch. And that's all I need. And the nice thing about the new pans is you don't have to buy special utensils. You know, back in the day, you had to buy those Teflon utensils because, God forbid, you would scratch the surface. And then another thing, people don't realize, you know, when you're cooking, you got to pay attention. Because if you have one of those pans with the old Teflon and it starts to overheat, first of all, the Teflon will lift from the pan, and second of all, the fumes are technically noxious and obnoxious. I'm waiting for Kathy to come back, and then we'll do a formal start. I hope the volume is down on this microphone. It was boy, when I did the playback today, holy cow, it was way too loud. Although, I have to watch, because if I turn it back too much, then basically it like shuts itself down. So hopefully, let me bump it just a touch. Hopefully it's sounding okay. Because it does sound a tad muffled to me, but all right, let me turn the headphones up a little bit. All right. Sounds better. Too loud. Headphone down a touch. All right, that's better. Boy, when the temperature decides to drop, holy Christ, does it drop fast in the evenings now. I went outside to get a couple of packages that just arrived, and I was like, Jesus! Although it was in the high 50s today, and being cold all the time, I dug out my winter Carhartt jacket. Holy Christ, I was sweating my balls off. I had to come in the house and put the hoodie on. Although I'll tell you, you pay a little more for anything Carhartt, but it is well worth the money. It is the one item that I don't cheap out on. And I bought this Carhartt jacket probably 15 years ago, and it's taken a beating. All right, Kathy's back. Let's do an official start. Damn tablet. Broadcasting live from station WDWL TV Studio 2A. I'm the Grumpy Old Man, and the show is brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. No bow. I just made it in time. I was mentioning, I don't know if you were here, Kathy, or you blitzed out. I decided at the last minute, I'm going to make another cup of coffee. Knowing my Keurig machine makes a coffee in a blink of an eye. I come back in, I put the cup down on the console, I look at the timer, and it says 6:59 and 32 seconds. I was like, holy yatcha-fuck. Get the tablet fired up, get things going. All right, tablet, you're going over there. Let me put the charger back on. Why can I never find the right there? That will keep it somewhat. Well, they're saying it's supposed to rain the next 3 days. I hope not. Although, I did get the axle bolted back onto the output flange. And nothing stripped. Nothing stripped. I couldn't believe it. Them bolts threaded right in. I was like, oh man. And I only lost one. So I've got 5 in there. I tightened them as tight as I could get them. But within the next day or so, the new one should be here. And then I'll take it up and Ryan will put the new bolts in and torque them to 30 foot-pounds like they're supposed to be. And I'll feel a little better. But it was nice taking it around the block and then going up to the Indian store. I also installed my green HID headlight kit. I'm a little pissed. They're not as green as they showed in the picture. So I messaged the guy and I went, I'm not too happy with this green. In the picture it shows dark, it says monster green. Green! I have pale green. God, the daytime running lights are darker green than the headlights. I even told them I might be looking at other eBay sellers for another set of bulbs because these aren't green enough. And then I ordered green LED front turn signal bulbs. Everything going to be green on the front end of that thing. And yesterday, the LED backup light bulbs that I ordered came in. Holy Christ. Talk about bright. Those are the way backup lights should be. Of course, you know, the old ones were the old glass bulbs that we had back in the 50s. So now, matter of fact, I was checking just before I came in. I put it in reverse and I was like, whoa, I can see. So I'm hoping that the forecast is going to be wrong, that we're going to have 3 days worth of rain, because I want to get the fog lights on the front bumper wired up. Had I not taken so many coffee breaks, I probably could have got them done, but at least I got the axle bolted in, I got the headlights installed. Ron is in the kitchen cleaning up, Kathy. He had leftover pots and pans and dishes in the sink from last night. Although I don't fault him. You know, I didn't expect him to be out there washing pots, pans, and dishes with sore feet. Matter of fact, I emailed them today. I said, man, I would switch pain management doctors. Something's going on. That they can't pinpoint what's Linda been using, Ron? Although I'll tell you what, the magnesium is working great for me. Although, you know, one person's pain, what triggers it is different than another person. So what works for one doesn't necessarily work for someone else. Well, me too. I need to have that toe surgically straightened, and I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and it's getting worse. Oh, you got more energy than I have. I hate washing walls. Oh, God. Although I'll tell you what, I use the old reliable spick and span. When I have to do my kitchen, I get a box of spick and span. And it's nice because you don't have to rinse. God, to think how old that product is. I think Spick and Span came out in the 50s, didn't it? Well, I know, Ron. I've got neuropathy too. But what works for one doesn't work for someone else. Vinegar, really? I'll have to try it. What's the ratio? Cup of vinegar to 2 cups of water, or what? What's the ratio that you mix? And it saved me buying a box of Spick and Span. Because I got about 3/4 of a gallon of white vinegar out in the pantry. Oh. Well, then I guess I got a big spray bottle. I guess that's what I'll do. Yeah, I've got it's like a quart spray bottle. I bought them at Dollar Tree, $1.25 each. I think I bought 3. Well, since I had these poor spray bottles sitting, feeling unwanted because they haven't been used in about 6 months, I guess I'll take one out of the cupboard. I didn't think about using vinegar for walls. I use it to wash my windows in my car. Man, were they nasty too. Oh God, I washed them the other day. Holy Christ, the dirt that came off those. I had to wash them 3 times. I had to do the damn interior car windows 3 times. They were that, well, you got to remember, it sat for 4 years with the sunroof partially open and the back window partially open. Luckily, the seats didn't mold. They dried up real nice. Then I vacuumed the shit out of them. And on the front seats, I put a fancy pair of green and black seat covers, because the edge, the bolster on the side of the seat back was split open, and the foam was getting all messed up. I think when Bill would get in and out of the car, he was a little larger than me. I think he was sliding across that bolster. So I got a real nice set of phony looking leather. But they're black, and then they have inserts like along the bolsters of a kind of a medium dark green. They look really sharp. I got them off of Temu. Matter of fact, I ordered the floor mats to match. because I had to throw the floor mats away. Oh, they were nasty. So I'm going to have floor mats to match the seat covers. The only seat cover I couldn't get was for the back seat, because it's got that 60-40 split in the back where you can flip the seats down. But the back seat looks nice enough, although it would be nice if it matched. But nobody going to be sitting back there anyway. Oh, I've never had to do that. I can imagine. You know, I talk about vehicles getting built with cheap crap. I have seen more cars with the cloth from the headliner coming unglued and hanging down. For the money you pay for these vehicles, everything getting cheaper. Matter of fact, what the hell year is Mary Ann's Hyundai? It's either a 16 or a 17. And her headliner in the back is starting to sag. And she says to me, what can I do about it? I said, it's a messy job, Mary Ann. I said, basically what you got to do is very carefully pull a little more down so that you can get some spray glue from Michael's, and then slowly, I said, and you can't just blurt. I said, you'll have to use like a ruler and kind of like squeegee it all the way to the back, and then spray a little bit of glue on what's hanging out and tuck it up inside. Yeah, I mean, and it's all manufacturers, not just Hyundai. No, we don't have a Pep Boys here. We've got Advanced Auto Parts, AutoZone, and O'Reilly. And I don't really care for O'Reilly. Matter of fact, I can't remember what was across the street Sears was on one corner at 110th and Lorraine, and then diagonal on the other side of the street. It wasn't Kresge, because Kresge was on the opposite side. I can't remember what was in that building. I want to say maybe an A&P grocery store, but that might be wrong. whatever the Pep Boys, the O'Reillys is in there, in that. And I really don't like going down to 110th because Advanced is right up the street across from Mark's, and then AutoZone is down on Peerless just up the street from Save-A-Lot. Not to mention, every time I've gone into O'Reilly's, they didn't have what I wanted anyway. My microphone is... I thought it was up a little higher last night. Got to make some adjustments here. Okay, now we got to straighten it out. All right, let's try it this way. Don't sag. There. Now we have the whole golden microphone. I think I'm going to use this one for like a full week. That'll give me time to decide what next week's microphone will look like. As a matter of fact, my fan clutch got here today. Except now I don't know if I need it. Because today it went to 190 and I had perfect heat. So I don't know if I really need this, although I'm not going to send it back. I'll keep it just in case. But it figures. I get the fan clutch and the temperature's working fine. I got this off of eBay, okay? If I would have gone to either Advanced or AutoZone or O'Reilly's, this goddamn fan clutch was $75. I got the same exact fan clutch off of eBay for $28.95 and free shipping. And the reason I know it's the same fan clutch is when the girl went back and pulled it off the shelf at Advanced, it was this identical box. And she quoted me, I think, $68.97. Good old eBay. The only problem is, like, if you need it right now, you're screwed. If they have it and you need it, you're going to pay. I didn't need it right away. Not to mention, now it's working. Oh, I won't send it back. Oh, no. Because eventually I think it's going to screw up again. But there's the new one. And it's easy enough. I can change it myself. You know, it's when you come down to it, it's sad that the auto parts stores are buying from the same distributor that the eBay sellers are buying from. And everything says made in China. You would think it's going on a Volkswagen, it would say made in Germany. No. That was like when I needed to put a clutch in my old Ford Ranger. I bought the clutch off of eBay because it was 50% cheaper and it was a better clutch. But I needed a flywheel. So I went up to Advanced. And I said, you got a flywheel for a 94 Ranger? And the girl, yes. She brings this heavy-ass thing out, puts it on the counter. I opened the box, and the casting on the inside of the flywheel said, made in China. I closed the box and I said, no thank you. And I found one that was made right here in the good old USA. And it was half the price of that Chinese piece of crap. And it's amazing when you buy parts made in China, made in Malaysia, made in Vietnam. God, I had one relay, it said made in Africa. We don't make shit here anymore. It's getting sad. Did you see the news clip of Trump meeting the prime minister of Japan? Now, the prime minister of Japan is female, and she is the first ever female prime minister of Japan. Trump is giving a speech talking about the great relations we have with Japan. He's got his fucking arm around her and he's hugging her to her. Oh, we have a great relationship. And you should have seen her eyes are like, yeah, he just put his arm around her, pulled her right. We have a great working relationship with, you know. Let's piss off the Prime Minister of Japan now by putting your hands all over her. Doesn't he know decorum? Obviously not. You don't touch in Japan unless you have permission to touch. Oh yeah, he's got his arm around her, he's hugging her against him. You know what is a very, I'm trying to think of the word, revered item in Japan? Business cards. Now, you know in America, someone will say, here, have my card. Okay, thanks. Not in Japan. When they hand out a business card, you are supposed to read it and then thank them. Thank you. There is no quicker way to insult a Japanese businessman than to take a business card, just tuck it in your fucking pocket. You know, I'll look at it later. Oh no. That's almost like blasphemy over there. You will see when Japanese businessmen exchange business, they read the card, every word, every number, everything, and then they, thank you. But Trump, oh, you should have seen the look on her face when he put his arm around her and then pulled her up against him. Her eyes got like, they look like my glasses. And then she realized she was making a face, and then she went back with a somber look. I would hope that his aides, after he got back to the hotel room, would have told him, you don't touch. You just insulted the prime minister. But he don't give a shit. Christ, he thinks he's fucking emperor the way it is. And then he was at a news, he did a news conference, Kathy, and he is holding up hats for a third term. He already had hats made. Trump in, what the hell, 2030 or whenever. When's the term up? We got him, what, 3 more years? 28, 29, whatever. Yeah, Trump. 2029. Because he is going to exploit that little clause in the Constitution that basically said he can run again. Because he didn't run 2 terms in a row. But he can't run after this term is up. But there's a little clause in the Constitution that he is going to try to exploit with Congress. And anybody that would vote him in again is fucking nuts. Make America great. He's making America into a goddamn laughing stock. Inflation is going wild. People are about ready to lose their SNAP cards. They're about ready to lose their Medicare supplement. And the country is still on shutdown. TSA workers are about ready to walk off the job because they haven't had paychecks. Same thing with air traffic controllers. They haven't had paychecks. The military hasn't had a paycheck. We're in our, 3rd week? Going into our 4th week of shutdown? Although what was interesting when I called Progressive on Monday, there is on the answering machine, if you are a federal employee and having a problem with your insurance premiums, we can help. I think basically what they're going to do is kind of give you like a moratorium on a payment until you get paid. Hey, Rudy just popped in the door. Can you see going without a paycheck for 3 weeks? Now, when the government finally gets going again, their pay will be retroactive, but in the meantime, how do you pay your bills? How do you buy food? How do you buy gas for your car? Not everybody has a nest egg. People living paycheck to paycheck, Like, I do without a lot to try to save money for an emergency. Well, the old Passat has just about drained the emergency fund. I have just enough money left to get the brakes done. So God forbid anything else goes haywire on that car. Because I've just about got all the bugs worked out of it now. I wouldn't own a hybrid if somebody gave one to me. Because when that battery goes haywire, that's like a $2,000 replacement. Not to mention, it's like $150 extra for license plates because you're not paying a gasoline road use tax. So license plates for hybrids are $150 more per year. And if you have a fully electric car in Ohio, it's $200 more a year. I laugh at the guy up the street that's got the 2 Teslas, paying $350 per car for license plates. Yeah, he didn't. Boy, he told me he got a real shock when he went to the Bureau of Motor Vehicles to get his license plates. The girl said, that'll be $352.10. And he was like, what? Well, you have a fully electric car, sir. You're not paying a gas tax. You're not buying gasoline. Not to mention his electric bill tripled. I still laugh when I drive by his house and see an extension cord plugged into the car. Yeah, see, they're supposed to have a noise, an electrically generated, the car's supposed to have a speaker on the front with a electronically generated noise so you can hear the son of a bitch coming in a parking lot. Well, Teslas don't have them. They're silent. I almost got hit by one in the parking lot a couple months back. I didn't hear it coming. Yeah, I stepped out around my car to go into the store, and all of a sudden this guy's laying on the horn. I said, well, I didn't hear you coming, for Christ's sake. They look like a vehicle that was designed by a 5-year-old at recess. All these electric cars, because they don't have grills, it's just a big flat piece of plastic on the front. Yeah, he's got, well, one regular, I don't know what it is, Model Y, Model X, Model Q, Model Z, and I don't know. And then he just bought that new one, the cheaper version. And it looks like a Tonka truck. They are ugly. I just do not understand how people can, well, they're all tree huggers. Although there's a guy in the neighborhood that has a Cybertruck, and he had it wrapped. It's a beautiful red metallic. He took it to a shop and had it wrapped. But those things, they are huge. I could not believe the size of them Cybertrucks. They're huge. Not to mention the tires on them look like they came off an army truck. Yeah, he lives somewhere here in the neighborhood. I see it every now and then. A red, flaming red metallic Tesla Cybertruck. I don't know where he had it wrapped. They did a beautiful job. It's like almost looks like it's got diamond dust. When the sun hits it, oh, it was gorgeous. Yeah, now that would be cool. Go out and get in your car and although there are two companies that are making flying cars. They're in the testing stage right now. The only thing is, you have to get a pilot's license. And then you drive to the airport and you pull out the wings and take off on the runway. But there are two companies. I read about it the other day in an automotive website. They're in the testing stage right now. Flying cars. We're slowly getting close to the Jetson thing. That's like, I think I mentioned this before. Yeah, I don't know how. Well, they license them as a car and an aircraft. So you put a license plate on it, and then you have to get a tail number. Because it's both. And then you have to have two-way radio installed in it so you can communicate with the airport. But I know I mentioned this once before. My buddy's grandson works for a film video production company out in Hollywood. And he flies a commercial drone. Now, this ain't no little... It's fucking huge. He showed me a picture of it. It's got like 12 propellers on it. In order to fly that drone, he had to get a helicopter pilot's license. I said, "You can fly a helicopter?" He said, "Yeah, I had to go to school to learn how to fly a helicopter, get my license so I could fly a commercial drone." So I asked him, I said, "Well, once you got your license, do you still continue to fly helicopters?" He said, "Well, shit, yeah, I got the license." He said, "If I ever lose my job flying a drone, maybe I could fly a news chopper." Yeah, you have to get a goddamn helicopter pilot's license to fly a commercial drone, and they're huge. I think he said it measures like 6 foot across. It's got like 12 propellers on it. And that's how they get all the fancy, footage of, going like down into the Grand Canyon or up in the mountains and flying over the ocean. See, he was telling me he had an assignment, and it was for a movie like people that were, frickin' lost at sea and ended up on a deserted island. and he was filming over, I guess there's some Hawaiian islands that are not inhabited. They're too small or whatever. And they went out and they were flying over this so he could get footage for this movie. I didn't know that there were several Hawaiian islands that aren't inhabited. He said they took a big cruiser, like a yacht. They went out, anchored off these islands, and he got whatever footage that the director needed. Yeah, I think he said that commercial drone is like $300,000. But he said it is huge. Yeah, that's that, like what, a Kilauea? The one that constantly erupts? That's how they get the footage. They go up with a commercial drone. Because he's gotten assignments from some of the local news stations. Kilauea is erupting. Take your drone out and get us some footage. Then he's got to watch. If he flies too low, what? Just lost the drone. Yeah, you don't want to be losing a $300,000 play toy. But I couldn't believe it when he said, matter of fact, he showed his grandfather and I his frickin' helicopter pilot's license. Because right now, like he said, since I had the studio paid for his training. Right now he's working on his license so that he can carry passengers. And he said the next time he comes into Cleveland, he'll see if he can rent a helicopter and take us for a ride. I think that would be cool. Fly over the city of Cleveland in a chopper. If it happens, I'll make sure to take my video camera with me. Get some neat footage. That was one thing I always wished I would have learned how to fly. Christ, I almost, before my buddy passed away, he owned God, what year was that? Citabria. I can't remember what year the Citabria was. It was parked out at Cuyahoga County Airport. He had his pilot's license. Well, he the regular, and then he could carry passengers. And he was going to, matter of fact, he got his instructor certificate. And he was going to teach me how to fly. Then he got pancreatic cancer, and there went that. He had to sell the plane in order to pay for his hospitalization. It was a gorgeous plane. Matter of fact, shortly before he bought it, the guy repainted it. It was white, green, and yellow with black stripes. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous plane. Yeah, he got his instructor certificate, and he was telling me, he says, I'll teach you how to fly. It won't cost you nothing. I was like, oh, that's even better. And then he got diagnosed with cancer, and the FAA took his license away. So he ended up selling the plane. I never did go up in it, damn it. I got to sit in it. I did, Kathy, you'll love this. I did get to go up in a police helicopter. When I was married to wife number 2, her brother, who had his pilot's license and his helicopter pilot's license, bought 2 surplus police helicopters out of California. And they shipped them back here, and they got them both 100% certified. And then the city of Strongsville paid for the helicopters. And he took me up one day. They were those little 2-seaters. Matter of fact, the asshole took the doors off. He said, fasten your seatbelt. I was like, oh, wait a minute. He says, oh, it's better for sightseeing with no doors. And we went up and we flew over frickin' I-71 out by Route 82. And you could see the fucking traffic. As soon as they realized there was a police chopper up, traffic slowed down. Yeah, we were up for about an hour. And then one of them, I can't remember, one of them developed a problem. And then I think they ended up selling both of them. They had them for a couple of years, though. Yeah, they were painted black and white, had police on them. Somewhere I got pictures, because I took my camera with me. I shot pictures of us flying over the freeway. Because he had a big concrete pad poured in his backyard. And they had one at the police station, and he parked one in his backyard. Well, Christ, he had like 5 acres of property. And he had a helipad in his backyard. So when he would go to work, he just walked out his back door, hopped in the chopper. That was back in the early 80s. Then the city realized how expensive it was to keep up maintenance on a helicopter. And then they ended up selling them. I don't know who they sold them to. But they had them for, God, 4 or 5 years. Because they had a helipad at the police station. But it was kind of cool that he had a helipad in his backyard. Yeah, when it was time to go to work, just walk out his back door. But they were little, God, him and I were like shoulder to shoulder. They were so goddamn small. It's kind of scary when you have just a big bubble in front of you. But it was cool flying over the freeway. Matter of fact, my buddy was with me because he landed and then he took my buddy up. And he didn't have to ask permission. Anytime he wanted to take that thing up, he'd just jump in it and go. So what are you making for dinner tonight, Ron? Since you got shit-canned the rest of the chicken stew, gave it to your dog. I'm doing gourmet hot dogs again tonight. They were so good last night, I was like, oh, I'm going to make them again tonight. Aren't they cool, Kathy? They're more fun than a plane because you can hover, A plane, you're just going. Helicopter, you go up. Hover for a while. Cheeseburgers. I got to get me some ground beef. I haven't had cheeseburgers in quite a while. Matter of fact, I got to get enough. I think I'm going to make me a big pot of chili, too. I haven't had chili. Well, I eat it during the winter. Big bowl of chili and a couple of handfuls of oyster crackers. Oh, roasted chicken. I like the little chickens, the one-person meal chickens. There ain't nothing wrong with that, Ron. Get your fill of cheeseburgers. Have them for lunch, have them for dinner. Tomorrow, Italian sausage. Smothered with peppers and onions. Matter of fact, I'm going to slice both the red peppers. And I got a big yellow onion. Like the last time. I had more peppers and onions than I had sausage. And were they good? Oh, God, was that good. My friends called me today and asked me if I'd like to go out for lunch for my birthday. Although it's not going to be on my birthday, because we both have conflicting doctor's appointments. So we're going to go to Joe's Deli for a corned beef sandwich. And that's a 2-meal sandwich, that is. Oh, God, they're like this big when they bring them out. You can't even get them in your mouth. I'll eat half of it there, and then the other half will be for dinner. Oh, yeah, Kathy, and the red and the orange peppers are so sweet. Like I say, I got, there's 2 red ones, an orange one, and a yellow. So I'm going to slice up the red ones. And that big yellow onion. And fry up a pan full, because that way I can put them in a container. And the next time I have Italian sauce, I can microwave them. Smother that sandwich with peppers and onions. On my baguette. Oh, Kathy, they're huge. It's literally, and you could get 4 sandwiches out of one corned beef sandwich if you wanted to. They are huge. Like I say, they come out, they got to be that, you can't get it in your mouth. They are so generous with, all right, it's like $16.95. First of all, I'm not paying. And second of all, that's very reasonable. Like I say, they're fucking huge. Like I said, what I'll do, I'll eat half for lunch, and then tell the girl to wrap the other half up, and then I'll have it for dinner. Pop it in the microwave. Big glob of horseradish on it. Boom. And they have their own brand of mustard. I don't know who makes it for them. They they're identical to Slimans. I mean, Slimans is God. They're known throughout the state of Ohio. Yeah, Slimans big. But Joe's Deli, identical to Slimans. When that sandwich comes out, it no joke, it's this thick. I have yet to see anybody eat one in a sitting. You can't. I have already brought half home and asked the girl when she wrapped it up if I could have 2 extra slices of rye bread and got 3 sandwiches out of one. Because like I say, they're huge. Matter of fact, I'll do the same thing. I'll ask her, can you put 2 slices of rye bread? And then I'll take half the corned beef and set it aside and then have a sandwich for lunch the next day. That's how much corned beef is in that sandwich. Because as soon as I said Joe's Deli, my buddy's wife went, oh, somebody's going to order corned beef sandwich. I said, yes. Oh, yeah. And I mean, the pickles are huge, too. Just like Sliman's. Identical. I think what Joe did was probably bought a couple of sandwiches from Sliman's, brought them back, and told his cooks in the back, duplicate these sandwiches. Matter of fact, they charge the same as Sliman's. Matter of fact, whoa, I think I have a Joe's Deli gift card. Ooh, I could get another sandwich to go. Let me look here. I'm pretty sure I have a Joe's Deli gift card. Oh, yes, I do. I have a Joe's Deli gift card. Matter of fact, I got the receipt. How much is the gift card? Let me look. $20. $20. I got enough for a sandwich and maybe a dessert. Cool. I'm glad that I checked. Nothing like having a gift card. As a matter of fact, I thought I had a Cracker Barrel gift card too that I didn't use. Oh, yes! I have a Cracker Barrel gift card too. $25. I can get me some country fried steak. I love Cracker Barrel's. What do they call it? Chicken fried steak? Country fried steak? Something like that. Oh, I love that. I can get me a meal. Man. Joe's Deli gift card. Cracker Barrel gift card. Because Cracker Barrel is just down on Tiedemann. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Looks like I'll be getting 2 sandwiches. Oh, yes, Kathy. I could get the chicken fried steak dinner and get an extra side of fried apples, because I think you get 2. With the dinner, you get a choice of like green beans and mashed potatoes. I could get mashed potatoes and fried apples and have enough left over to get an extra. Cool. Did you see, Kathy, a couple months back, Cracker Barrel changed their logo? And people were so pissed off, they changed it back. Because the new logo looked crappy. And people raised so much hell that they went, okay, we'll go back to the original. Because they even started to remodel the restaurants, and people were like, leave them alone. You know, when you got something good, why screw with it? You know, Cracker Barrel's been around for eons. They have a loyal following. Don't screw with things. Yeah, they changed the logo, and they put out press releases how they were going to remodel and like update the restaurants. And people went berserk. They said, leave them alone. And they shit-canned the whole idea. You know, that's how you lose customers. Because people think, oh, it's not owned by the same corporation anymore. Food's going to get crappy, leave well enough alone. God, Cracker Barrel's been popular for, 50 years? 60? Maybe longer? That's like, remember before it was Denny's, it was Sambo's? Matter of fact, I got a Sambo's coffee mug. I stole it. And people, they were like, oh, Sambo's, that's offensive. And they changed it to Denny's. But when they changed it to Denny's, they changed the menu and they screwed that restaurant up. I don't know how the Denny's up the street from me stays open. I hardly see any cars in there. Yeah, they said it was offensive. How is it offensive? Well, yeah, Little Black Sambo. But it was Sambo's before, and it wasn't like they had pictures of black kids that looked like Farina from the Little Rascals. Was the name of the restaurant, Sambo's. And then they went, oh, I think we'll change the name, we'll redesign the restaurant, change the menu, and they screwed it all up. That's like the Manners restaurant right at 130th and Brook Park has never remodeled. Never. Menu's still the same. Restaurant looks like it did 40 years ago. Now, every now and then they redo the chairs and the booths because things get a little worn. But it's identical. If I walk into Manners tomorrow, it's going to look like Manners that I remember from 1970. All right, Rudy, see you tomorrow night. The only thing that they changed was the Manners big boy that was out front. They put him inside because somebody tried to steal him. Because the last time I was in there, I said to the girl, this looks just like it did in 1970. And she went, yep. But Manners had a following. I went in there as a teenager. I'm going in there as a senior. The burgers are still the same. The Big King, the Manners Big King. Price has changed, but not the burger. Oh, you see where McDonald's is bringing back Monopoly? I saw a commercial the other day. Monopoly is back. Ah, really? What's the deal with McDonald's Monopoly? You win a sandwich or something? I don't know. They were supposed to come back with the plastic pumpkins for trick or treat. I'll have to ask my buddy. They were talking about it. I'll have to ask them if they brought them back. Remember at Halloween time, you go in, you could get a plastic pumpkin. It came with a Happy Meal. Well, it's coming back, Kathy. I saw a commercial for it. Well, matter of fact, last night. Monopoly is back at McDonald's. I don't go in there that much anymore, but ever since boy, talk about disappointed with the fish fillet sandwiches. Goddamn piece of fish is half the size it used to be. Matter of fact, we got some chicken place. I don't know if it's Chick-fil-A or Popeyes. No, it's not Popeyes. I've never been in it. Everybody tells me the chicken is out of this world. It's right up by where the old K-Bart used to be on Lorraine. Well, every now and then, Kathy, I get a taste for a Big Mac. But I haven't been in McDonald's in probably a year. Yeah, it was last year at Lent. And I went in for a fish sandwich. And I got the sandwich and I went, "Did you give me a child's portion?" The girl said, "No." Oh yeah, I like a Whopper every now and then, but the price is going up on them too. The only time I go into Burger King is when they run that special for Whoppers. Buy one, get one free. I used to go to Burger King quite regularly. Because there was one right up the street. Everybody said their chicken is killer. I've never... Yeah, it's a Chick-fil-A. I've never been in the place. I don't know why. Maybe because every time I think about going in, the goddamn drive-thru line is like out in the street. I guess I'll have to try it. As a matter of fact, my buddy who dislikes chicken raves about their chicken. I was like, boy, if you're raving about chicken, it must be good. Yeah, I'm going to have to put that on my list. Go in for a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Maybe what I'll do is go in. Because most of the time there's hardly anybody inside. They're all in the drive-thru. Although I kind of like Wendy's Baconators too. The only time I go in for them is when they have the buy one, get one. Although my neighbor was telling me if you download the app, you get a lot of deals on the app. I don't want to download an app. Yeah, same thing. There was a Burger King commercial, get a Whopper and free fries if you order on the app. Everything's forcing you to use an app. I don't want an app. But you don't get the deal unless you order on the app. And then when you order on the app, they want you to use DoorDash to deliver it. I don't want it delivered. I want to drive my Passat up and pick it up. Now that I got it back together. Oh, was that a greasy job? Holy shit. Oh my God, my hands were covered in black grease. Thank God I had lava soap. What a filthy, messy job that was. Oh God. Because, I had to get the axle back in the flange. And the flange is like a little cup. So I'm trying to turn it and stick it in the... Oh, God. All my tools were greasy. Took me longer to clean the grease off my tools than it did to put it together. But I went out at noon when the sun moved over, jacked it up, took out the wheel bolts, then had to fight to get the wheel bolts back in. Oh, I hate them. But I got it all back together. And then I went down the driveway, backed up, down the driveway, backed up. Did that about 6 times. Marianne, she was out working in her front yard going, is he going to leave or not? Well, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Then finally I left and went slowly around the block. Barely got into second gear. But no noise. No noise. I was happy. Although it did take me 20 minutes to get the hands clean. Oh, they were black, Kathy. Oh, covered in grease. Good old lava soap. Clean. Did I tell you when I went to get lava soap? Now, if you were in the store, where do you think you would get lava soap? Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Bum 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 bum. Answers, please. Where do you think you would get lava soap? Oh, you cheated! I'm going down the damn soap aisle, and I said to the girl, "Where is the lava soap?" She goes, "You're not going to believe this. It's in automotive." I said, "What?" Then she goes, "Well, kind of makes sense, doesn't it?" And the more I thought about it, yeah, it did make sense. When do you need lava soap? When you're working on your car. Oh, it wasn't in the laundry. I looked in the hand soap aisle, and then I went over in the laundry detergent aisle. They had Fels Naphtha, no lava. I was like, they gotta have lava soap in this store. So I asked the girl that was stocking, I said, "Do you have lava soap?" She said, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Where?" She goes, "In automotive, right next to the motor oil." I said, "What?" She goes, "Well, think about it. Makes sense, doesn't it?" I went down to automotive, right next to the motor oil. Bars of lava soap. I would have never, in my wildest imagination, thought that lava soap would be next to motor oil. But it was. And it does make sense. If you're going to work on your car, you need motor oil, windshield washer fluid, and a bar of lava soap. Boy, that sounds familiar. I think there was. I haven't heard that name in years. I think the next time I go to the store, I'll see if they still have it. Christ, Fels Naphtha soap. Who the hell would think they would still selling that? My grandmother used to use it for stains. She'd get something with a stain in it, get the old bar of Fels Naphtha, then throw it in the machine. Her old wringer washer. Through the squeezer. I'll never forget when I got my arm stuck in that wringer. I'm holding on to the towel. I was like 7, 8 years old. Holding on to the towel. Next thing you know, Grandma! She hit the emergency release on the top. Ow, 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 ow. She's like, "Well, what the hell were you holding on to the towel for?" Yeah, I'm holding on the towel, and next thing you know, my hand's going in the fucking wringer. Last time I did that stupid move. I'm surprised the hand still works. You know, if you mention Fells Naphtha smoke, Fells Naphtha soap, to young kids, they're like, what the hell's that? Is that like Dove? No, far from it. Wash your body with Fells Naphtha soap, you won't have any fucking skin. The Fells Naphtha soap was right next to the 20 Mule Team Borax. That's another soap you hardly hear of anymore. Borax. Even sounds like something from back in the dark ages. What do you use? Borax. Ooh. I remember the commercial for Death Valley Days. 20 Mule Team Borax. Oh boy, here you go, Ron. I feel sorry for you, buddy. Oh, in today's mail, I got my gentle reminder. Come on, focus. Come on, focus. Can you read that? My gentle reminder that my annual donation is due. The St. Jude's nice little notepad with a sheet of address labels. A whole sheet of return address labels from St. Jude's, reminding me my annual donation is due. That's okay. I send them $25 every year. Well worth it. I know I'm cheap, but St. Jude's, it don't cost you anything to go there, you know. God forbid you have a young kid that comes down with cancer. Oh, you got your... Must be that time of the year, Ron. Yeah, mine come in the mail today. The gentle reminder. That's all right. I'll send them 25 tomorrow. It's worth it for the notepad and the address labels. No, it's a good cause. There's only 2 charities I donate to. St. Jude's and the local rescue here in Cleveland. Tales of the City, spelled Tails. It's a cat rescue. A non-kill cat rescue. yeah. He was great. He died too young. But he did a hell of a thing founding that hospital. Because basically, when he said he was going to have that hospital built and it was all going to be on donations, people laughed at him. People won't donate to that. God, look how many years it's been going strong. And his daughter, every now and then, does a commercial to remind you who Danny Thomas was. You know, there was an interview shortly after Joan Rivers passed away with her daughter, Melissa. And she was saying, back growing up, that they would have a cookout. And Danny Thomas would show up with the family. Frank Sinatra would show up. Ernie Kovacs would show up. She said they were all like uncles. She said it was unbelievable. They'd have a cookout in the backyard, and in would walk, Frank Sinatra and the family. And Danny Thomas would show up with the kids. And Ernie Kovacs would show up. And she said they were just like normal people to them. I'm sitting here thinking, you had a cookout, and Danny Thomas showed up, and Frank Sinatra showed up, and Ernie Kovacs showed up, and yeah. Dean Martin would pop in now and then. I didn't know she had plastic surgery done. God, she had talked about being against it. She always said she wasn't going to follow the Hollywood crowd, get plastic surgery done. That's surprising. I'm trying to think of the name of her husband. Phil Donahue. I remember when when he started in Cleveland doing a local talk show. And then he got syndicated and people don't know that Phil Donahue did just a local little podunk. I think it was on Channel 5. And then it was so popular, it got syndicated and went nationwide, and he got famous. And I still don't know how him and Marlo Thomas ever met. Yeah, because he was quite controversial back in the day. People were kind of shocked. But that controversy got him a syndication nationwide. But I don't think Marlo has ever talked about how her and him ever met. She's quite private about her life. She used to do a podcast, Mondays with Marlo. I don't know if she's still doing it or not. Yeah, it was Mondays with Marlo. She did like an hour podcast. Well, he was here in Cleveland for a while. Because my aunt used to get tickets to sit in the audience. And then he got syndicated and became a big name in TV because he was the Jerry Springer of the day. Man, he had some controversial topics. But it made him famous. Because he's got 2 or 3 kids from his first marriage, but him and Marlo never had any kids, which always surprised me. Oh, that's the way they met, huh? I could never picture her with him. It's amazing. They've been married umpteen thousand years. I just could never picture the two of them together. Because I remember her and him came to Cleveland for somebody's funeral. And unfortunately, I didn't get to drive that limousine that day. I was driving somebody else, but they were here in Cleveland for somebody's funeral. And I got to meet them. But I didn't get to drive either one of them. Well, they were together. Back in the good old days of TV. Although I'll tell you what, she keeps a very tight rein on that hospital. A very tight rein. She don't put up with no bullshit. That hospital was her father's pride and joy. and she makes sure it gets run I's dotted and T's crossed. But look, it's still going. Going strong, too. My $25 won't mean that much, but I guess I'll be getting a little birthday card to mail from Tales of the City, reminding me my donation is due again. Although, that's where I got Bootsy, my buddy, my big fat buddy. But they warned me. They said he's going to be a handful. I remember calling him twice. Can I bring him back? He'll be okay. And he is. You know, Kathy, I had heard that she runs that hospital actually better than the Cleveland Clinic and the Mayo Clinic. And she don't want no second-rate doctors. They go for the best. They have the best research department. Oh yeah, that was her dad's baby, and look, they're still going strong. As a matter of fact, I think last year they built another like apartment building. And they don't charge people for nothing. Although, you know, if your kid's going there, your kid is pretty goddamn sick. But they work wonders there. That's why, as cheap as I am, I don't mind sending them some money. I wish I could send more, but I can't, you know. I ain't made of money. The Passat is milking me dry. Well, I think while the tablet is down to 15%, I better call it an evening here while I still got enough power to... We know where. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Ron, I hope your feet don't hurt too much. I'll be thinking about you, buddy. And Kathy, don't wear yourself out washing them walls. And we will meet again tomorrow night.